welcome back to another video. I am Rel Purnell, aka Rel, and I decided to make this video because I got hit up a lot, at least over the past 30 days, questions about Bentleys, how much the maintenance is. People were thinking about starting a limousine company using the Bentley, and they had questions. So this video is for you guys who was thinking about buying a Bentley, either for personal or for business. So stay tuned and check this video. I'm gonna drop some gems that Bentley itself don't want you guys to know. Have you guys ever asked yourself, like, man, I see, early mid 2000 Bentleys for 40,000, 45,000, 50,000. Why I don't see any on the road? Especially when brand new Hondas fully decked out is like 35 grand. You got Mercedes S550, 50 grand. They're like the same price, right? You can spring for an older first generation model Bentley Flying Spur or Bentley GT in between 40 and 50 grand and have that prestige, have that 12-cylinder twin turbo vehicle, right? But why don't people get them? And I know why. One of the biggest things that shine people away from these vehicles is the maintenance, guys. The maintenance on these cars cost, and you can lose your shirt in 1 year of owning these vehicles, man. Something for you guys to think about is it going to be your daily driver? I wouldn't recommend someone using a Bentley for their daily driver, because the more miles you put on this car, the more it's going to cost your maintenance. Typically, owners who own these vehicles have, at minimum 1 or 2 other vehicles that they drive or switch up on a daily basis, and they may take out the Bentley for a couple miles, either on a Sunday cruise or a Saturday and Sunday, if the climate and the weather good position for you to drive the car. These cars cost, y'all. These cars cost 1 year, and I got the documentation here to prove it, so I can know what I'm talking about. I owned this car since 2015, and I put a little over 60,000 miles on it. It's been good to me. Maintenance wise, it's been up and down, and also I'm using it for business. I use this vehicle to chauffeur clients around in, no matter the occasion. If it's a wedding, it's a night out in town, it's a prom, or whatever the case might be. So primarily that's what the car is being used for. But the first couple years of me owning this car, it cost me thousands of dollars. I was spending a minimum $5,000 a year in maintenance because I was driving the heck out the car, constantly promoting it, running deals just to build up the buzz. Meeting people, taking it to events for promotion. My first year of owning this car, I put 20,000 miles on it. 20,000 miles. And I spent about $5,800. Spent about $5,800 in maintenance. And that came from tires. You guys know what tires run. This car has 20-inch tires on it. You can get a tire in between $200 up to maybe $400, depending on the brand and where you're getting the tire from. So you know those costs. But oil changes, depending on where you go, if you take it to the Bentley dealer, you might pay about $1,000 for the oil change. If you got a good independent dealer that you can take the car to, like myself, at that time 5 years ago, I was paying about $500 for an oil change. But now with the cost of inflation, I'm paying close to $600 in oil changes. However, you only get the car oil change once a year, every 10,000 miles. Typically, people are putting about 2,500 to maybe 5,000 miles a year on these vehicles, like I am right now. But again, some years you can lose your shirt. It's been some years. 1 year I put about 7,000 miles on a car, and I spent $5,000 in maintenance, and $5,000 of that was suspension parts. Front end suspension on these cars gets chewed up quick because they're so freaking heavy. So freaking heavy. These cars weigh almost 6,000 pounds. Now, the pros of it is, obviously it's a fast car, it gets looks. It's very comfortable as well. It's a very comfortable, luxurious vehicle. It just is what you imagine or what you would get out of these cars. The downside to that is, look, you damage something on the car, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you. So for maintenance, I would say, because I had some years where I only spent around maybe 2,000, 2,500, and I was keeping the miles low, around 4,000 to 5,000 miles a year over the past 3 years is what I've been averaging. But I would say have anywhere in between 5 to 10 grand set aside a year just in case something mess up. All right, guys, this leads to my next thing. I just went into AutoZone and I had to return some parts for my 1994 Star that I'm restoring. Got some parts about a couple weeks ago that I thought I needed, but I didn't need them. This car gets attention. I don't care what year Bentley you got, the car gets attention. You know, I'm in the AutoZone talking to the guys and they start talking about my shoes and, oh, you got some fancy designer shoes. This car gets attention, and you know, it's a conversation starter. It definitely can help you in a lot of ways, especially if you're a business owner and you're looking to network and you're looking to market and everything like that. It definitely is a conversation starter, but also something that you guys want to consider as well is it always going to get you the attention that you want, right? Consider where you live at. Consider your neighborhood. Do you see Bentleys in your neighborhood? Do you see Lambos, Ferraris, Maseratis, Rolls Royce? You know, Mercedes, BMWs? Are they common? Are they practical in your neighborhood? Because if not, you're gonna stand out like a sore thumb. And believe it or not, depending on the area that you live in, depending on the areas that you frequent, you can possibly even become a target. So that's the downside that you may want to consider. I used to live in an apartment complex, you know, roughly about 10 years ago. And, you know, I had a brand new Mercedes, nice Mercedes. I had it parked out there, and somebody tried to take my wheels. They actually took the wheels off another car that I had at the time. But somebody tried to take the wheels off my car, and I lived in a relatively, what I thought was a safe community. In the county, it wasn't even in, you know, the inner city or anything like that. But, you know, my Mercedes stood out like a sore thumb. So if you're thinking about buying a Bentley, think about that as well. Is that car going to make you stand out like a sore thumb? And some people might like the attention, but I'm telling you guys, all attention isn't good attention. All attention isn't good attention. These cars eat a lot of brake dust. I cleaned the car off this morning. Brake dust not bad as of right now. I didn't really do a lot of driving, but man, the brake dust on these cars, because these brakes are massive. Brakes are huge. So you're gonna spend a lot of time cleaning the wheels. Next thing, people are going to ask you lots of questions. What do you do for a living? Can I see the car? What year is the car? How fast it goes? How many horsepower is under the hood? Is this a true Bentley? Yeah, believe it or not, I just got asked that question while I was in AutoZone. The guy said, "Man, is that really a Bentley? Like, I've never seen one before." I'm like, "I know you seen it." He's like, "Man, I seen them online, but you know, I never really seen one in person." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a true Bentley." So, you know, again, these designs, no matter if you got the first generation or the latest generation, these designs are timeless, guys, timeless. And again, if you most people never seen these cars in person. and that's the truth. I haven't seen one until what, maybe I was in my mid-20s, and I seen my first one, and still didn't see them like that. And every time I seen them, I was like, wow, that's a Bentley, man. That thing is bad. That thing is crazy. So yeah, there is going to be a lot of people asking you questions. So if you're one of those people who don't like people, you're not social, you're introverted, you might want to consider that as well, because people are going to ask you questions. They're going to be curious. They're going to maybe follow you and take photos and drive right beside the car with their camera phone out. So that's something you might want to consider as well. All right, this one is for the guys and girls that's looking to start a limo business using a Bentley. Things to consider, right? I just went over the maintenance costs. You know, you want to have 10 grand in reserves. If you're lucky, you're gonna have a 2 grand maintenance bill per year. That's if you're lucky and nothing fails on the car, except, you know, maybe you need some tires, or you need an oil change, or whatever the case might be. Nothing major fails on the car. It's 2 grand. Something catastrophic happens, anywhere between 7,500 to 10 grand, depending on what it is and what the where you take it to. But the next thing is, if you're using it for business, you already factored in how much the car is. You already did the finance calculator and ran down your monthly payment. So now you're ready to make that leap of faith. You're ready to start that business. Things to consider: commercial insurance. Find out the laws in your town and your city as far as the type of vehicle that you can have, the license that you need, because you will need a passenger or a chauffeur license depending on your city and state. You will need the proper insurance. And no, I'm not talking Toro. You know, right now I'm paying about $567 for commercial insurance. So you do want to consider that as well. If you start your business, you want to consider advertising prices as well into your budget, because you're going to need to advertise, where if it's on social media, if it's on Facebook, if it's on you know, wedding websites, if you're running ads on YouTube, influencers, you know, on a monthly basis. You got to add that into your budget, on top of, you know, the money that it's going to cost you to actually have the car in your possession. And these prices does add up quick. So, you know, guys and girls that's thinking about jumping out there and, you know, starting as a limo business, chauffeur services, and actually driving around clients, that's something that you want to consider. Now, as far as Toro, I told y'all Toro is not really my thing. I've heard stories of people having success on Toro as well as not having success on Toro. The good about Toro, it's a built-in platform. It's going to have a client base already built in, where you don't have to do tons of marketing. So, you know, that eliminates a little bit of cost there that you're spending up front. You don't have to get commercial insurance on your vehicle. You can just be, you know, your own personal insurance. Things to consider: the downs about Toro. If someone crashes your car and totals it out, depending on how you bought the vehicle, how did you insure the vehicle, your insurance might not cover you if someone else crashes your car that's not on your insurance, or if someone else crashes your car and you're using it as a rental vehicle. There are proper insurances that you would need if you're trying to rent out your vehicle. Now, how much those insurances cost, I don't know. From what I've heard, you have to have a business that's doing an extremely high dollar amount of revenue for a insurance company to even write you a contract. Guys like Ed Bolian, check with him. Rob, Super Speeders, he talks about it as well. I know he has a business of rental cars that he's actually doing properly. You might want to check with those guys and check and see as far as any leads that he can guide you towards insurance. But from what I'm hearing, from people that's saying good things about Toro, they're saying it's good, especially if you live in like a Miami or New York or Atlanta or LA, one of those major cities, Dallas, Houston, where people are actually traveling there for destinations, vacations, and they're looking for something to do. They already have in their mind that they probably want to rent a vehicle, or they're coming there just to rent a vehicle, an exotic car. Those places I think do well in both scenarios, where if you got a limousine business using these luxury cars, or if you're renting them out on Toro or under your company with whatever insurance route that you go. So that's my tip for that. All in all, guys, this car is beautiful. No matter the year, no matter if it's a first generation or what, these cars are beautiful. It's a lot of attention. You're gonna have a lot of fun in these cars, and if you're in a position to pull the trigger and you can buy these cars, do it. Buy it. Don't think twice about it. Buy the car. Lots of room. See that back seat? Lots of room, guys. These cars are comfortable, they're fast, heated and cooled seats in the back, air climate control in the back. That's where you change all the lighting right there. Pretty nice vehicles. You'll love it. Think of even down to like where you want to park it. Do you have a house where you can park it at? Even think about things like where you're going to park the car. Do you live in an apartment complex where it's tons of other cars parking nearby, tons of traffic coming in and out, because it is a high-priced vehicle, and you want to protect your high-priced vehicle. You don't want traffic coming in and out, maybe leading to somebody running into the car, backing up into it, door dings into it. Do you live in an apartment complex? Do you live in a community that's low traffic, or a street with low traffic? Do you live in a house with a private parking pad where it can park alone by itself and sit alone by itself? Do you have a garage where you can park it inside of, and keep it covered from the outdoor weather elements? So those are things that people also gotta consider when buying these cars as well. Because again, depending on where you live and depending on where you keep it, if it's a busy street, busy traffic, it's going to be open to the element, open to everybody to see. Do you care about keeping it secluded where it's pretty much hidden, like in a garage or a private parking area? So those are things that you want to consider as well. But the next thing I'm going to talk about is gas. You want to consider gas for this car. I mean, if you're coming from a luxury car such as a BMW or Mercedes 7 Series or S550 S-Class, gas is going to be roughly the same. The tank, I believe, is around, don't quote me on that, not sure exactly how big the tank is, but I know the car gets around 12 miles per gallon in the city, about 18 miles per gallon on the highway. And to fill the car from zero, from E, which I don't recommend you running into E, but if you're around the quarter mark, you may spend, depending on how much the gas is like close to $3.75 per gallon for premium. You might spend about 65 bucks. So definitely consider that for gas. Car washes, I mean, these cars, you don't want to run them through any type of self-serve car wash, or a car wash where you use the brush. You want to get these cars hand washed, or you want to hand wash them yourself properly so that you don't scratch it. You may want to even think about considering to invest in ceramic coating Ceramic coating price can range you anywhere around $750 and up. The clear bra, you may want to consider that as well. On at least on the front and on the mirrors, to preserve the paint from rock chips on these vehicles. So there's also things that you want to consider as well. And lastly, last but not least, if you're getting one of these older cars, get a PPI if it's not under warranty. I don't care if you're spending $35,000, $40,000 because you see one. Get it inspected, PPI, because you don't want to buy that car and get a $10,000 bill because the front suspension had some issues and the airbags went out, or upper control arms. That's the biggest expense for this car. Also the vacuum lines. If this car has any vacuum leaks, you're going to spend thousands of dollars because they have to take the engine out of these vehicles to get to the vacuum. So make sure you get the car PPI'd if you don't get a warranty. That's a big no-no, and if it's an older car, try to get it around no more than 50,000 miles, okay? That's pretty good for mileage on these cars. From what I told, you can run them forever. They don't really have any issues with the transmission or engine, just other things. So you're good on that part, but for sure, get a PPI. If you can get a warranty, that's even better, a certified warranty. I haven't bought any from third parties. I always bought mine from the dealerships. This one from FC Curback. My first two, I bought them from Bentley Tysons. So, you know, only been dealing with certified, authorized Bentley dealerships, and I've been getting them with warranties to cover my butt. All right, y'all, that's it for this video. Hope you liked it. I tried to drop as much knowledge as I could in this quick little video for you guys. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to hit me up. Shoot a comment below, and I typically respond back within a couple days or so, and you know, answer any particular questions that you guys might have about Bentley ownership. Also, check out a couple videos that I'm gonna add up here as well if you want to know more about my Bentley ownership and more about the Bentley brand in itself. All right, thanks for watching. As I always say, stay positive, stay motivated. Salute.